And we thought it'd be kind of fun. I'll tell you personally, I've been here for 16 years, and I remember when we only had Yahoo Store as like the only e-commerce platform. And just to see the proliferation of so many new platforms, even Magento was exciting, but Shopify, BigCommerce have been so exciting. The growth is so monumental. We thought it'd be kind of fun to do a little bit of a guessing game. Um, we're gonna go through one of these numbers at a time, and you can just guess what you think the number refers to in the chat. 5 million plus. Yeah, 5 million stores. There's right now 5 million online stores on Shopify, which is crazy. It's up from the threes-ish last year. And we got brands like Fashion Nova, Allbirds, Kylie Cosmetics. So they're supporting very high volume stores now. Let's see this next one. 3. I'm going to say this is a bit of a trick question. Plans? Oh, actually, I think there are, yeah, 3 plans. Um, there's 3 uh, channels, marketing channels that they like technologies, platforms that they natively integrate with. And I say it's a trick question because it's Facebook, Instagram, and Google, and Facebook and Instagram are kind of one. So in a way, the answer is 2. But yeah, we'll get into more details on that. But really nice to have a deep platform connection between these. I mean, the majority of where your ad spend would go and your customer database. 7.1 billion. It's how much money Shopify made last year. Their revenue reached 7.1, which is a 26% increase year over year, which is great because if your business is going to be based on a platform, you want that platform and that company to be healthy and growing, which is fantastic. Number 1, yeah, it's the number 1 ecom platform. Outside of like some people consider Amazon to be an e-commerce platform, I consider it a marketplace. But yeah, you got your Shopify, your BigCommerce, your Yahoo, your Magento, 3D Card, etc. Shopify's become the largest. Quarter trillion. It's hard to forget these when you start thinking about them. Yeah, total sales going through the system in 2023. It's a lot of sales in one system. Pretty awesome. I remember when Yahoo got up to 50 billion, that was about it. I mean, and they cornered the entire market. So to see one platform hold its own like this is pretty phenomenal. 69%. This one's a tricky one. No one's gonna get this. It just would make no sense. During BFCM, Black Friday, Cyber, yeah, it probably is actually percent market share. But during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, um, at least in 22, where there was really good reporting, 69% of all the online sales on Shopify stores came from mobile devices, which is nice because all the responsiveness of the platform. And 27%. Kelly, we're going to take your answer that applied here. Yes, roughly 27% of the top 1 million e-commerce websites by traffic are on Shopify. So not everyone here is already on Shopify, but if you are, let's just do a poll. And this is nice for like, sharing some information with your peers and get a collective here, how would you rate your Shopify store's current marketing performance? I know all the agencies in the house are going to be like, excellent. But if you have a Shopify store, all right, we close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Share results. Okay, good. There's room to improve. We love that. We are an agency, and my opinion, we're the best agency for businesses that have outgrown the agency that they're working with. So when you think it's good, but there's room to improve, that's our sweet spot. So fair, we need to optimize a lot more. Poor, we're struggling to grow. I'm glad to see that's only 4%. But I'm sorry, whoever that is. However we can help, please let us know. And then the one that is excellent is congratulations, and I hope that never changes. So a quick introduction. I've never had such a long intro before, but I put a longer intro because I realize it might be helpful. I've been here since 2008. I joined Agile, which was called Exclusive Concepts at the time, to take my poker SEO chops and try to create an SEO program here in the e-commerce world, which I did. And then a Google Ads program, then conversion, then email, then Amazon. Then I helped develop an account management team and philosophy to manage across multiple channels. Went from about 10 employees, hitting Inc. 5,000 for the first time that first year. And then we hit it over 10 times more. After that, we have hundreds of employees now, managing $250 million of ad spend. And we've had the honor of winning quite a few awards and working with amazing clients. So I'm also the host of our webinar series. So please keep coming back.
Awesome. And my name's Megan. I started about 10 years after Nick in 2018. I've been here just about 6 years now. I started off doing some client onboarding and working with some smaller clients, and now manage a book of clients as well as my team's clients. So I've had the pleasure of working with many in e-commerce business. And like Nick said, kind of our sweet spot is medium-sized to smaller-sized businesses that are really looking to grow and take market share. So it's been a really fun journey, and I've learned quite a lot. So my expertise tends to be in businesses that are on Shopify, kind of in that sweet spot, like 5 to 25 million. So I'm excited to be speaking with you all today. Awesome. And today we'll chat through a couple different things. So we'll cover a little bit about Shopify, things you may not know if you're already on a Shopify store, kind of tips and tools that we've learned. And then we'll dig really into marketing for Shopify stores. That's our biggest area of expertise, right? So what type of integrations can you use to boost your revenue? What is the easiest to integrate with Shopify? And then how do we use the data that you can find within your Shopify store to make better data-driven marketing decisions? So that'll be really the meat of our presentation today. And we can kick things off with a quick poll. And I can hand it over to Nick to run that up.
Yeah, we put together a few challenges that we thought might be relevant. So we asked just to answer with one. What do you think is your biggest challenge right now? Oh, more traffic to my store. I've got the traffic I want, more conversions and sales. I'm struggling with integrating third-party tools. I've got a lot of customer data that I want to manage it better. Or just very specifically, and it could possibly overlap with some of the other ones, but improving SEO for my store. So many people are on Shopify for the SEO performance side and need to know how to make it work. So close this out in 3, 2, 1. And it's always nice to just see from peers, right? Almost a majority are trying to figure out how to optimize conversions and sales. And pretty split between SEO and traffic. And then the third-party tools and customer data insights. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm excited for the SEO part later as well. Give you guys some tips on Shopify.
Awesome. And so we'll fly through some integration options and tools that you can use that integrate with your Shopify store to help make marketing just a little bit easier. So there's quite a range of integration options for Shopify. I would say one of the things I love most about working with Shopify stores is how easy it is to plug in with different tools. I often find that the saying rings true with Shopify is that if you have a problem, there's an app for that. So you can often find something in the App Store for a pretty low cost. That's sort of an easy fix for many common marketing problems. And so a couple of those things include like payment gateways, integrating Amazon Pay, Buy with Prime tends to be a little bit easier with Shopify stores. And of course, apps like Nick mentioned, the Meta integration, and then some of our partners, including Klaviyo, really easy to integrate with Shopify. So we have a huge partner suite over here at Agile, and many of those integrate so seamlessly with Shopify, which is really great. One of those is Klaviyo, sort of using the first-party data within your Shopify store to help segment your email marketing campaigns. That just helps really easily streamline and segment. So your deliverability can increase, your quality scores can increase there. Yotpo easily integrates with Shopify, as well as a partner of ours called Tapcart, helps turn Shopify stores into apps very easily. So Shopify makes it really easy for marketers to find a tool and integrate it quickly. So we find, I started off kind of in the onboarding side. We find that Shopify stores are so easy to onboard because Metapixel integration is just a tap of a button, and many apps and tracking pixels can be easily integrated. Awesome. And so like I mentioned, the Metapixel integration, really easy to set up. You really just plug your Pixel ID into Shopify. So that helps start pulling data right away. And we'll talk a little bit later in this presentation about how we use data from the Metapixel for Shopify stores to help segment campaigns across Meta, and really dig into customer segmentation. So you're not showing the same ad across your people who have purchased from you to people who have never heard of you before. So we'll talk a lot about how to use the data that you can gain from some of these integrations and your first-party data directly within Shopify to help make better marketing decisions and even segment your marketing campaigns a lot better. Awesome.
Just muted myself. One of the integrations that we use a lot is the integration with our own technology stack, Agile Impact. Agile Impact it pulls in data from 40 different technologies into one system, organizes it in a way that allows us to start creating holistic strategies. This is a big part of how we approach marketing. A few years ago, we only had 6 channels that we had to market and manage. Now there's over 15. So we want to pull in all that data. We want to cross-check it with Google Analytics, Shopify data. So having all that data in one house, well organized, which is more powerful than having data. Having data is powerful. Having data organized is really powerful. Once it's organized, we can actually coordinate better. And the tool that we've built pulls in a lot of data from Shopify. So in the system itself, it allows us to essentially manage campaigns across multiple channels. We're able to organize, here are all the awareness campaigns from Meta or Google or Amazon. Just by tagging them, they get pulled in and organized in a certain way. So it becomes a cross-channel planning tool, set different goals around that. We run all the data through our media mix modeling tools so that we don't have to trust the attribution models that come from the reports from Meta and Google. When you set your Meta return to 1200% because that's the equivalent of Google Ads saying 600%, none of that. We use a neutral arbiter to do all that data, and then reports across all channels. The Shopify part is a super powerful ad that we've developed in the last several years, where pulling in that data of your actual customers allows for a lot of cross-checking, better CLV reports, which we'll get into. It's amazing how much data Shopify has, how clean it is, and combining it with all the other channel data and disparate sources into one system is pretty amazing. How does this comply with data protection standards like GDPR? It's all compliant and everything is brought in an anonymous way.
Awesome. So we'll
And
talk a little bit about how we leverage first-party data in Shopify for our clients. So starting with, raise your hand if you've had any attribution issues so far this year, right? With lack of cookie data and sort of Google tricking us and saying they're going to phase them out, not phasing them out, and then potentially phasing them out soon. The importance of first-party data just grows, right? The more you can use the data that you have within your store and in your customer base to help make marketing decisions, the more high quality and tighter your segmentation and your marketing campaigns are going to be. So a couple things that we'll do and we'll walk through today. Shopify allows you to gather all of that first party data directly. And like Nick said, it's really easy to pull in via API to marketing reports like Agile Inform or Impact. And then of course, some of the ad platforms like Google or Meta. So one of the things we'll do is use that data to personalize our marketing campaigns. So you can see in this screenshot here, this is actually a screenshot from one of our clients from the Agile Impact platform. And it's a screenshot of our social ads dashboard. So what this first party data does is allows us to segment our audiences for social media marketing across Meta, Pinterest, and even TikTok, to cold audiences, people who have never visited your site, people who have never heard of you before. So you can deliver the best first message and best first impression possible. So delivering them some of your, what we call catnip products, or even just a bestseller carousel, things like, hey, these are the things that everybody loves about us, or listen to our reviews, things like that. That messaging is going to be different than someone who has purchased from you before. So you'll see that third audience there, which is past purchasers. This allows us to understand, again, using that first party data, who's already purchased from you before. And if your audience sizes are large enough, who's purchased a specific product so that you can then cross-sell either a new product or similar product. And then that new customer remarketing, that tends to be the sweet spot. Those are what we call our warm leads. Those are people who have been to your site before but haven't purchased. And we can even further segment those audiences, right? So people who have been to your site in the last 7 days, they're going to perform a lot differently than people who have been to your site in the last 180 days, right? Trying to win them back. Or people who have spent the top 25% of time on site in the last 7 or 30 days. Those users are going to be highly engaged, people that have browsed 5+ pages. So again, you can continue to segment using this first party data from Shopify to really hone in on your ideal target and match that creative to the target. That's when you'll see some of these efficiency metrics, like everyone said in the beginning, optimizing for sales and conversions. That's when you'll see some of these efficiency metrics like click-through rates and conversion rates go up because your ad creative is more tightly matched to the exact person who needs to see it. Awesome. So moving into how we use this data. So like we said, we can use that specifically on the ad platform level, but we also like to do that across all of your media spend. Like Nick said, with the messiness of attribution right now, we like to use 2 factual numbers, right? What did you spend and what did you make from that spend? We like to split that up strategically into the different phases of the virtuous activity cycle, or really what we call the consumer journey. So how much did we spend in awareness? What did we generate in terms of impressions and clicks? How did that fuel consideration? How much did we spend in consideration? Those who have not yet purchased your product, but are probably considering you or other brands in their consideration set. How much did we spend to convert customers? And then again, how many loyal customers did we look to bring back? And so that mix is going to be different for every company, every Shopify store. But it's really important that we can measure that breakdown and see, as we shift this breakdown, right? If we shift more investment into awareness, how does that impact revenue, impressions, conversions, et cetera? And so this is, again, a couple of screenshots of our Agile Impact platform where we track this across all clients. And this is something that we review frequently with clients. How does this mix change? And we can figure that out with, like Nick mentioned, our media mix modeling tool.
yes, we're gonna do another poll here. I think it's hopefully this is helpful to like hear from your peers and how people are using the same platform you're on. But how are you using customer data? And we've allowed for multiple choice here. I use the data for email marketing and segmentation, to analyze shopping behavior and trends, to do a better job personalizing, to set holistic KPIs, maybe like cost per acquisition, or target customer lifetime value, net new customers? Or honestly, we don't really have a strategy. It's one of those things where once you say we don't have a strategy, there's so much opportunity then. It's fantastic. We'll close this out in 3, 2, 1. I have a feeling that this is partially just the order. Just because of the way it's staggering downwards. But for sure, there's consensus that this data should be used for email marketing and segmentation. At least half of you are analyzing behaviors. Some of you are trying to get as personalized as possible. And then don't have a strategy for setting KPIs for growth. They're kind of like opposites there of the rest of the group. You can't, it's not easy to have holistic KPIs without a strategy. But great. Thank you guys for sharing. Thanks for being honest. And hopefully that's helpful to hear from everyone else. We use the data for strategy and for setting holistic KPIs. Part of that is we know that when we have short-term goals for clients, like return on ad spend or marketing efficiency ratio, that's only going to help us know whether we kept the lights on for the month, right? How much did we spend? How much did we make? It's a short-term way of building your business. But if you have a paradigm where every time you attract a customer, they then buy from you 10 more times, that short-term type of thinking is not your best strategy. Your long-term opportunities include how many more new customers can I acquire at a price, at a cost per acquisition that will really make me a lot of money as they buy more. And to understand that, you need access to customer data that is organized, analyzed, and displayed in a way that's really helpful. Shopify makes it easy for us to get a few columns of data that we then put into a customer lifetime value report. Mind you, if you're not on Shopify, it might take us an hour or two to set up the same report. If you're on Shopify, it might take 15 minutes. But just Shopify's a little easier. The data is a little simpler to API over. But when you have the data and you want to start looking at, am I doing an okay job with the trends I'm trying to cultivate for my business? You're saying, did I make any headway in increasing customer lifetime value? If my customer lifetime value is so healthy and my cost per acquisition was way too low, did I allow myself to boost it a little bit, thereby gaining a ton of more customers? When you have just a tiny increase in cost per acquisition, it can really open up the floodgates because you're that much more aggressive and present to your new customers than your competitors, because you believe you can afford it, and your competitors don't think they can because they haven't done the math. You have more customers, more orders, more revenue just by opening up cost per acquisition. And this simple view is a reflection of if you've done all the other things correctly. So the other things you do correctly, and this is why we built the report this way and it updates almost in real time, is did you look at your customers grouped by the month that they made their first purchase? See how they ended up buying more over time. Keep track of how many net new customers and make sure that net new customer count keeps increasing at a cost per acquisition that is tenable. Did you dive in to the more recent trends and brainstorm with your team on, well, if the inflection point happens in 6 months, what are they buying? Someone's buying a computer and then they're buying an accessory 3 months later. What if we sold that accessory up front? Can we speed up and increase customer lifetime value? What are the different segments doing that contribute to these trends? And are we seeing the response that we want? As we study what a customer is worth, can we then use that customer lifetime value, the profit margin, to set some break-even cost per acquisition targets? Something that is profitable, but higher than what you're used to drive a huge boost in your sales, conversions, and revenue. And just keeping track of this over time is super important. So this tool, again, is easiest with Shopify sites, the way we built it for our clients. But it can be applied to any platform. A lot of people are on Shopify because they heard through the grapevine that the SEO capabilities are amazing. Yeah. Compared to having to build everything in RTML on Yahoo, when we were the only e-commerce agency and they were the only e-commerce platform, those days were tough. And so much of this is just done for you now. The platform takes the responsibility of being in sync with the search engine. So things like sitemaps, Shopify's got you. Making sure that your desktop version snaps to grid on your mobile in a way that's not just adaptive, but is responsive. Shopify led with that. It's one of the main reasons it grew so fast. And of course, the query string parameters, the static nature of them, the organization of URLs is at the highest standard. But that doesn't really help you beat all your competition. Beating competition means doing everything well and then going a few steps further. So knowing some tips on Shopify can be really helpful. So I'm gonna share some like very Shopify specific tips here. We have about 100 Shopify clients that we manage, more than enough for us to be one of the largest managers of Shopify stores, but also get a lot of insight, because when one client feels pain and we solve something, we can go ahead and say, how many other Shopify stores does this apply to? So first, you get your homepage, then you have collections pages, like your top like categorical pages. Let's say your category is widgets, okay? And then you want red widgets, blue widgets. Red widgets and blue widgets technically is a subcategory of widgets. How do you create them? You could create it through faceted search. So Shopify makes it easy, maybe too easy, for you to create a subcategory that way. But you create it, you'll never be able to add content on that page. The only way you can create a page that is a subcategory and still be able to add content is if you actually create yet more collection pages that you just know in the architecture of your website are subs to that parent. And then you actually need to add your own breadcrumbs manually. So it's a little bit of a maneuver you have to do on Shopify to be able to get subcategory pages. Subcategory pages are easier to rank for. These are keywords with less competition. There is more intent for the searcher because they've added a qualifier along with the categorical phrase. So if you want to rank for keywords that have high conversion rates, you want those pages to rank. The only way those pages can rank is if you have content. You need to explain to Google what the page is about through depth of content, perfect ontology, high BERT scores. You can't do that if you're not allowed to add content on those pages. So stay away from the faceted search subcategories. Product pages. There's no variant level markup. So if you have t-shirts and they are RGBIV, you have all your options. You want to tell Google in their language that you have all these variants. And their language is HTML markup, also known as schema.org or whatever you want to call it. There's like rich snippets. There's like 5 different ways to call it the same thing. It is little meta language that Google says, meta variable equals this, value equals this for that variable. Google doesn't need to figure out what you're trying to say. You're telling them specifically. For product variant level HTML markup to tell Google the color variations, size variations that you have, that's not native to a template in Shopify. You need to go ahead and add that extra code in. And if you want to create multiple pages, like t-shirts and then multiple pages for Roy G. Biv, you have to canonical them back, or you can build them all into the page itself. One thing we learned from working with so many Shopify stores is sometimes there's a funky thing that happens, and it's important to get the word out to all of our clients as quickly as possible and to all of our audience. And one such thing happened around 22, where hackers found out that the vendors page on Shopify could be used to create extra pages. So businesses that were hired to create backlinks for gaming websites and adult websites and weapons websites started to create a bunch of vendor pages, thousands and thousands of pages. And then Shopify realized it, told everyone to shut it down. But when you now look at your SEMrush data from like 2 years ago, and you're like, oh my God, we were doing so well in 22. Look, we ranked for 30,000 more keywords. You didn't. Those were pages that were being created, optimized by hackers. They were ranking for keywords you never want to rank for, and good riddance. Curious in the chat if anyone went through that, but you don't need to share the entire story, just yes or no, because I know it was troubling. Yeah, Sarah, yeah. Very often we'll get a Shopify site, and we'll start combing through collections, and we're like, my Lord, you have a lot of collections that you thought you would create. Like someone thought it was a great idea, went on a coffee break, came back, forgot about it. And there's just so many collection pages people create, forget to do any products in them, or it's a collection that they re-envisioned in a different way, and products have moved over. They never got rid of the actual collection page. It's just it's so common in Shopify because, like everything Megan was talking about, everything's so easy in Shopify. So doing things you didn't mean to do or didn't really think through are also easy, and they're still there. So you might want to clean those. Oh, yeah, Marty had it happen to a client. Yep. Last thing, you're out of stock on a product. What should you do? So if you're out of stock, but you know it's going to come back in stock, just keep it. Let the traffic keep coming in. You know, get people on a wait list or whatever they want to be on. Show them other products that are similar, but keep that traffic going. If it's out of stock, but you can tell you used to get links to this page, used to get traffic, consider forwarding that page to a product that is very similar. If you're not going to ever restock and it never actually gained any traction, in that case, don't waste your time. SEO, the best thing you can do in SEO is not waste time on things that won't move the needle. So if it had no value and it will have no value, just let it fall for it. Last point on the SEO side is a few months ago, we saw virtually all of our Google Ads accounts contract a little, just a little bit on the Google Shopping side. And we're talking about businesses that we've managed for 3+ years. We can see a clear contraction. And the contraction happened exactly at the same time that Google decided the home of Google Shopping results is now going to have a lot more tenants in it. And those tenants were organic duplicates of shopping results. All of a sudden, your shopping results aren't just paid at the top, they're everywhere in the SERP. It's a lot more options for people to choose from. And it makes you wonder, are my pages showing up in those nice free listings? Shopify sites overperformed in that change, where they got a lot more visibility in these organic and sometimes paid SERPs. Was it a handshake between Shopify and Google? Maybe a little bit. But all the things we've talked about, responsiveness, which also goes to speed, the cleanliness of HTML markup, the simplicity of feeds, all that is playing a role in getting you some nice free visibility in the new AI overviews.
Awesome. So everything Nick just mentioned, we take and use for a lot of our Shopify clients. So we'll jump into a couple case studies where we've employed all of these tactics and see how it went. So first one is a furniture client, Kalini Coastal. And we've actually featured them in quite a few webinars before. We've worked with them for quite some time now, quite a few years. So Kalini is a luxury home decor brand. I find that for furniture clients and home decor clients, Shopify can be a really easy site to use. So using Shopify and our Agile Impact tool, we were able to understand the current state of the business when we started to partner with Kalini and really understand that there was so much opportunity on the site. Like Nick said, a lot of those category pages and collection pages were missing content. So did some keyword research, added content on there, built out a non-brand strategy for paid search, and really ramped up their social ads using that really tight segmentation, right? And as the brand has grown over time, they've expanded into new categories like furniture and some of these bigger AOV items. So those customers that we acquired a long time ago for home decor, people that were really fans of the brand and the style, we can now reach back out to with all of these new categories by segmenting our advertising around that first party data. So this has always been one of my favorite partners. They're still partnered with us today. And we saw some just fantastic results from this approach with really tight segmentation in their advertising and taking advantage of the really clean technical SEO that the site has to offer by adding additional content and keyword research. So we continue to add content and keyword research to the site now just to beef that up, but we've seen some really great success with Kalini using a combination of the approaches that Nick mentioned above. Awesome. So a couple key strategies that we took here, again, using that first party data on Meta and Pinterest, really tight segmentation in our advertising. So using what we call those catnip products, some of those lower AOV, really beautiful products like some of these ginger jars or vases you see here. I actually own a couple of Kalini products myself. They are really beautiful and can easily bring people into the brand to then see the beautiful broader assortment. So again, using that first party data to bring people in, understanding what the top products are among new customers, and then sending those out to acquire more new customers. And at the same time, cross-selling some of those new products like their up and coming holiday collection, people that have purchased in years past, we'll be launching ads to those people to say, hey, your favorite collection is back and it's here for a limited time. So again, using some of those tighter strategies around segmentation can really help with efficiency, definitely, because your ads are intended for the group that they're reaching. And also is a better experience for your customer as well, because they're getting more personalized recommendations. Awesome. And another one of my favorite clients is Sally Baby. I actually did a partner webinar, Nick and myself, with our friend over at Sally Baby, Nicole. And we've partnered with Sally Baby for quite some time now. And again, using the same approach. There was a beautiful Shopify site, very technically healthy, missing a lot of SEO content. So by adding all of that SEO content on there, doing some tighter keyword research, prioritizing specific pages for keywords and landing pages, that helped us grow their SEO presence and at the same time help us mine for non-brand keywords to use on paid search. So really cornering that niche market by using some of the insights we were able to glean from SEO, and which keywords we were ranking for, which keywords were getting the most searches, then begin to target those on both paid search. And also, fun fact, Pinterest does keyword targeting audiences as well. So you can use those insights from paid search on SEO and also on Pinterest. And what we did with Sally Baby was a really interesting approach where we used that first party data from Shopify to understand how we should set goals for the brand by shifting from a really high efficiency focused goal to a really aggressive new customer acquisition goal, to really try to increase market share. So we're able to use the first party data to understand what their current state was and where we could go, and sort of balance out the risk by understanding what our customer lifetime value is of a customer and hedging our bets, that if we take a CPA that's about 3-4x that, we can really understand how efficient we can be with new customer acquisition. So understanding your CPA, your customer acquisition cost to customer lifetime value ratio, allows your marketing team to be more effective with acquisition because they can sort of cover their butts with risk. Awesome. So a couple key strategies we took here, again, very similar approach, really tightly segmented advertising and scaling up non-brand search targeting using a lot of those keyword insights helped us really drive new customer acquisition. And again, having those goals and guardrails set by using your first party data to understand how your customer acquisition costs should relate to your customer lifetime value, that allows us to know just how much we can spend to acquire new customers.
I love those. I wish someone shot over the case study links for me, so I put them in for everyone. There's also a webinar we did with Nicole that Megan just mentioned. It's kind of nice to hear Nicole talk about the business as well. Like it's the amount of passion a client has for their own business directly gets reflected in the marketing side in terms of performance. And when you have passion, you have confidence. And that's when you start taking those like cost per acquisition risks that pay off and dominate the market. But we'd love to help guide people with that. Just before we get to a quick offer, basically an offer to help and questions. Takeaways, Shopify is obviously super flexible. We're really happy it's around. It's the answer to a lot of people's prayers, especially if we've been in e-commerce for long enough. We're like, when will the platforms create something that is improving itself at the rate that it needs to and helping everyone on it? That's where Shopify has come in. Their partnership team, their integrations team has made it so easy to do some of the work that is actually quite difficult for other people who are not on the platform. The first party data, whether it's using it with Meta or email or trying to figure out your cost per acquisition that would allow you to hit your growth goals and still be very profitable. You don't get that much clean data that easily like you do on Shopify. And of course, we're big proponents for not just working with us on helping manage your marketing and become your team, but to do it in a coordinated way through our agile impact technology that can be a little bit more tempered with how it helps us plan our media mix and our growth and our ad spend so that we can actually set goals that we hit, which is really difficult for any other platform to do. That it is kind of the main challenge of what we built Impact around was something that was reliable. With that, want something for free? We are offering a Shopify strategy plan, and before you say no, even before you say yes or maybe, I'll probably be the one talking to you. I'm really excited. I will be studying your website. I'll be using all the experience I have. I have an entire strategy team to help me. I'm going to study your competitors. I'm going to show you what they're up to in Google and Meta and TikTok and email and SMS and Amazon, what the brand trends are, what their strategy is versus your strategy, what the collective strategy should be in the direction of growth. I'm going to make recommendations on the ideal media mix, recovering lost momentum, show you where you lost that momentum. And hopefully the presentation, the plan is one that you can say, okay, show me that it's going to work and we can just run with it. So the plan is free. And if you think it is the best plan you've seen to take your business to hit the goals you've been trying to do, you like our strategic framework, our experience, our way of observing your competitors, plugging 12 ways to spy on your competitors webinar from a couple weeks ago, then you're gonna have an awesome plan for 25. And it's probably gonna be less costly than what you pay your agency right now. So don't be scared by the flash, but our experience, we're in it to win this market. So if you're the perfect partner for us, we love your business model. It is what we built our entire company around. We're gonna fight for your business and we're gonna help you grow. So, cool. With that, there's only one question in QA right now so far, but we're gonna take more questions as well. We're gonna end this poll in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. 67% of you asked for some next steps. I really appreciate that, guys. Okay, here's a report you can run for empty collections. Megan, if you're not familiar with it, happy to take that question.
Yeah, you could take that one.
Yeah, it's not really like it's kind of a report. Yeah, it's a way to look at all your collections and how many products are in each collection. It's easy to start seeing where your blanks are. But there's more to it than just that. We have to look at collections and faceted search. We want to see which pages have content, which pages don't have content. So I want to expand that rubric a little bit. We got some other questions that were sent in earlier. What should a business really be tracking to know if their Shopify store is doing well, and how does Agile impact make that easier? Yeah, there are a lot of available KPIs in our world as digital marketers. Open rate for your email, rankings for your SEO, return on ad spend for your ads platform. And the more you spend on Meta and Google, you might have different, like I said, you might accept a 600% ROAS on Google and 1200% on Meta if you're doing like 7-day click, 1-day impression. But we try to encourage people to look at the financial impact KPIs, the KPIs that at a glance, you know how your business is doing, not just how your marketing campaigns are doing. And there's 4 of them. Marketing efficiency ratio. That is, I made this much revenue and I spent this much on marketing. Wow, I only spent 3 cents of every dollar I make on marketing. What would happen if I spent 4 cents? Look at that, my business just doubled. That's a great metric to look at. It is so much healthier than the return on ad spend numbers you look at, and it's pretty amazing. The other 3 are long-term ones. Customer lifetime value, can I increase it? Cost per acquisition, is it in relationship with CLV? And am I letting my cost per acquisition be high enough up against my customer lifetime value that I'm driving a huge net new customers, which is the 4th metric you look at. Christopher, thank you for this webinar informative like a call. We're almost done converting one of our Shopify. Okay. Yeah. When you're ready, just let us know. Maybe just contact, or we'll contact you to set up something just to keep touch base. Yeah, Tanya's always saying, after the updated Shopify web is launched, which should be tomorrow or Friday. Wow, congratulations.
Good luck
Yes,
with your
please reach
migration.
out. Yeah.
Nick, I see another one in the chat, which is thoughts on pointing the redirect to a collection page versus a similar product. I have an it depends answer, so I don't know if you have
Sure.
something more definitive you want to share.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. So I would say, again, frustrating marketing answer, but it definitely depends. So if the product was a really top seller and you have a product that's very similar to it, and the product page that you would redirect to has all of the other variants, I'd recommend redirecting to that product page. Otherwise, most of the time, I'm going to recommend the collection page because typically collection pages rank a little bit higher in the SERP. So We've seen that flip a little bit recently, but I will say if you have a product that's out of stock, redirecting to something that's different may be a frustrating experience for the customer unless it is pretty much on par and almost just a different variant of that same product. Or it's your upgraded model. For example, I buy ASICs, they upgrade their models every year. So if you redirect me to the 2024 model, I won't be mad. But I would say most of the time redirecting to the collection page is going to be the best move and the least friction for the customer.
Yeah, I would agree, and it gives you options, right? So,
Yeah.
the Katie's asked a question. Can you talk a little bit about how to lead breadcrumbs for sub collection pages? Yeah, so if you create 3 collection pages and one is supposed to be the parent and 2 of them are supposed to be children, Shopify doesn't know that. You've created it in your top navigation to look that way, but they still just think it's 3 collections, all that report to your homepage equally. So what you need to do is create just a little bit of code, typically at the top of your subcategory page, that says it adds a collection in between the homepage and this. So by the nature of the breadcrumbs right now, it would say homepage to subcategory. It wouldn't show the collection in between because Shopify doesn't know it. So you just break that code, and you have to essentially manually do that part. Jacob, you guys seem to really like Klaviyo for email. For automation, not transactional emails. Shopify has the Flow app option. Do you have a leaning one way or the other of Klaviyo versus in Shopify app? Oh, and Christopher Case, you also have your hand up. If you don't mind putting your question in the chat or the QA, that'd be really helpful. Thank you. So I have less experience with the in Shopify app, to be fair. I like Klaviyo partially because when you create your lists, we can easily coordinate those lists with Meta, Google, Bing, Criteo, Pinterest, TikTok. But I also like the decision trees that you get to create for your workflows. Decision trees weren't around 10 plus years ago the way they are today. Bronto was one of the first ones to launch one, and we had first access to it before anyone else was allowed to touch it. And at the time, it was huge to be able to study how people's behavior was with one send to change how you will reach out to them for the next send. I don't think anyone has perfected it like Klaviyo has. And the testing technology, the insights in there, it's just on a different level. So by my ignorance on the in Shopify app, but I will vouch against all the ESPs we've seen over a decade plus. What Shopify has, or what Klaviyo has done, is remarkable. And we also appreciate that Klaviyo surveys our clients anonymously, and we have maintained a 10 out of 10 survey response from all of the Klaviyo clients that we manage for email blasts and for workflows.
I will say too, for Klaviyo versus Shopify app, I do think just having everything in Klaviyo makes sense so that as you grow your email marketing, you can add on SMS, you can increase your flows, you can add additional triggers. So I think Klaviyo is probably just the step up from the Shopify app. If you're just doing flows and you're running kind of a smaller email program or list, Shopify app could make total sense. And Klaviyo seems to me to be the upgrade. So I think if you're looking to sort of upgrade your email marketing and have a platform that can do everything you want to do in the future, biting the bullet and jumping onto Klaviyo is probably the best move.
And just those lookalike audiences you can build off of once you start to filter down to your VIPs, your loyal, your high spenders, your non-discounters, like that collective list, using it to develop lookalike targeting for your consideration and awareness. yeah, that is the power of not only getting the most out of each customer, but finding exactly the same type of customer. So yeah, you want to think about the power of that. Awesome. Christopher, are you still here? Christopher Gaze, yeah. Christopher, you had your hand off. Did you already ask? Oh, you did ask the question earlier, or just pointed out that you'd like to reach out or talk in November. Great. Well, was this helpful, guys? Um, you feel a little bit more excited, more empowered with Shopify. Um, again, feel free to use this as a resource for all those Shopify challenges. Um, and we do marketing for all the channels. Plus, we also do design development on Shopify. So, yeah, awesome. Thank you, folks. Megan, thank you so much. This content was amazing, but behind the content is years of work with clients to make sure that they are doing well so we can tell their story. So thank you. Thanks everyone for your time. Happy early Halloween, happy holidays, happy Diwali to everyone for Friday. Cheers, everyone. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.